Yes, Alex?
Let me tell you about Grin.
I've swapped complete failure as a Kickstarter.
Star Fox Command is the first game that you get to be Anthony Birch.
The first of many fuck yous. Like a fucking Looney Tunes? Suck.
The only stipulation was behave yourself and keep your dick in your pants, and you have not followed through on that.
Hey, Tad.
Yes, Alex?
Let me tell you about Yume Nikki. So here's where the intro would play. All right.
Well, actually, technically, Alex, the intro plays at the start.
Oh boy, we're that professional now.
So what the fuck is Yume? Is it Yume or Yume, Nikki?
It's Yume. I fact-checked it.
Well, no, Alex, I mean, I know I am asking the question, but is it Yume or Yume?
It is Yume. Yume Nikki. That's how you pronounce it. I had to fact-check that shit.
All right, Alex. It was a pretty funny joke. I didn't hear you laughing, though.
So anyway, Yume Nikki is an RPG Maker game created all the way back in 2004. For reference how long 2004 was, Star Fox Assault didn't even come out yet. That's how long ago that was.
Team Fortress 2 didn't even come out. Fucking,
it was a dark time.
What? Thousand Year Door, I think, came out around that time.
Wasn't that a 2003 game?
Around that time. It was early 2000s. It was a pre-TF2 time.
Yes. So, Yume Nikki was released back in 2004 by a developer named Kikiyama. Not much information is known of this guy. He is a weird sort of hermit.
And it was a single dude, right? It was just him?
For all we know, he's a single person. That's how little he, talks to people. So, the game received updates over the course of 3 years. The very final update, the big, final version of Yume Nikki was released in 2007. The beginning of the Team Fortress 2 era. So, the game is all about exploring a vast, surreal dream world of a character named Manatsuki, a little Japanese hikikomori girl who has a very strange fascination with ancient Peruvian culture. So, a hikikomori, if you don't already know, Tad, is basically a super-duper mega shut-in. It's mostly a thing in Japan, that just cuts themselves off entirely from society, never leaves their house, room, anything, just kind of holes up in there for the rest of their lives.
I think there was a Pokemon based off it that made me really mad because it was it looked like a vampire. It had a little worm dude that had a coat and a fang. Then it turned into a guy that was wrapped up in his leaf home thing. And then the final one, I think he left his shell and was making clothes for other animals or something. I'm sorry, Pokemon. But yeah, that's what I know about hikikomori. Also, there's some anime with Coca-Cola and a little hamster.
What?
The little orange girl that looks like a hamster.
Oh, that anime. Yeah, that anime sucks, dude.
Alex,
right.
I mean, you don't have to add that. Every anime sucks.
You're right. But, back to the topic at hand. So, the entire game is just about exploring this crazy-ass surreal world that's within her dreams. When you first play the game, you start it up, get in there, you're awake. When you're in your room, you can't do much of anything. You can walk over to your door, trying to use the door, she just shakes her head no. Using the desk, you can save your game. Using the TV, you can play a little mini game called Nasu, which is just a little game. You play this little bird guy, jump around and collect eggplants. It's a really short game, there's nothing really much to say about it. But the important thing is, go to your bed, go to sleep. At the 3 seconds, you wake up in the dream world, the dream version of your room. Then you walk out the door, and you're in the Nexus. So the Nexus is this very large, freaky-looking room with these weird, ancient Peruvian pictures, flying in the background. And here, there are 12 doors. Each door leads to a new world within this dream. You have 12 initial places to go to. You have the Forest World, Block World, Puddle World, Dark World, Snow World, Mural World, Graffiti World, Eyeball World, Candle World, Shield Folk World, home of the Shield Folk, Neon World, and Number World.
And each of these worlds, when you enter them, do they just kind of say what they are, or?
No. very little in this game. There's basically no text in this game other than like the main menu and like the menu you can bring up to use different items and shit.
Well, how do you know the main character's name then?
That stuff's in the game files.
Oh, okay.
In the game files, there are 4 named things. There's Maratsuki. There's Metamaudi. I'm not sure how to say it. Basically, it's the eyeball hand effect. You have Monaco and Minoe, 2 characters I'll get to later. All of these worlds are just kind of, most of the characters, like 90% of the cast, as well as the worlds themselves, are all just kind of nicknamed by fans, and they've just kind of stuck. Like, people call Eyeball World because it's a world full of eyeballs and weird, just like, severed limbs and stuff walking around. They call Candle World, it's just a dark room full of candles, and there are little candle people with legs that run around everywhere. Shill Folk World have a bunch of folks who hold shields and kind of stand around. You know, just nicknames, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But within these worlds are more worlds to explore. So say you go to Graffiti World, it looks kind of like ugly and there's not really much there, but there's a door you can go through that leads to the mall, which then leads to even more areas past that. There's layers. There's more levels hidden within. There's a crap ton. I'm not going to bother naming all of them for you.
And so the gameplay consists of so you go to bed and you go to your room, you go to your Nexus, and then you just kind of it's a walking simulator. It's a circa 2007 walking simulator.
Yes. It came out, and this is before walking simulators were kind of like frowned upon by like shitty indie devs who would just kind of release them on Steam or something for like $5, you know, to make like a quick little extra money for like a tech demo. This was back when, like, remember, this was 2004 and 2007. This was the earlier days of the internet and RPG Maker games and all this stuff. So this game just comes out and has no like dialogue or anything. You just go around, you go into this weird world full of numbers and doors and beds and everything. You enter this door and you see this creepy imagery. You're like, well, what does it mean? You know? It sticks with you. You think about it. That's kind of what this game was all about. So the main goal of the game is not just run around and just kind of be lost. You actually collect these things called effects. There are 24 in total. So you have Frog, which just turns into a frog and you can jump around. You got Umbrella, makes it rain. You got the Hat and Scarf, turns into a snowman. Yukiona makes it snow. You got the Knife, which is like the iconic one where you can stab any NPC and they can die. Or you can wound them, because some can't die. You've got Metamaud, the Eye Palm, which I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of it. You got Fat, which just makes it fat. You got Midget, which turns really tiny, and you can go through tiny like areas that are blocked off. You got Flute. You got Neon. Nopobaru, which makes you a faceless ghost. You got Severed Head, Towel, Cat, Lamp, Bicycle, lets you move faster, and that one's really, really useful. You got Long Hair, Blonde Hair, Poop Hair, Triangle, Kerchief, or Spirit Headband. You got Witch, Demon, Boyo Boyo, which means squish squish, and then finally Traffic Light.
Now, okay, so one of them stuck out. Severed Head?
That one's one of the shittier ones. It just turns you into a severed head. You can just kind of slowly hop around the ground.
Okay, I thought it was like...
You get it from a guillotine.
Okay, I see.
So each effect kind of transforms you a little bit. Like the Yukiona one will put you in the robe and you like have your hands in your sleeves and you'll make it snow and stuff. Bicycle, you ride a little bicycle, makes it go faster. With the Squish one, whenever you walk, you like jiggle and you can push one, you'll jiggle some more. So some of them are just cosmetic, like the hair ones, or like the towel one. Like they don't really do anything, but some are useful for moving NPCs, like the Knife, or even like the Cat, or getting through puzzles, like the Yukiona one that makes it snow, and the Umbrella, which makes it rain. And by puzzles, I mean one. There's one room that's being blocked off by fire. By making it rain or snow, the fire will go away, letting you pass through to that room. There's also the Ghost one, which allows you to turn invisible and kind of get away from enemies. And Stoplight will stop all time and stop everything in place, you know? Just kind of makes some things easier.
Okay.
So when you're going through so you might be thinking, what do you need to stop with the traffic light? There is one type of enemy in these worlds called Torningen. Get bird people.
Torringans.
I have no idea how to really pronounce it. I think it's Turingen, but I'm just going to call them bird people. So these very tall, creepy-looking bird ladies that walk around the dream world. There are some that are like just don't even mess with you. They have regular-looking eyes and just kind of walk around. They're usually found near beds, which is kind of weird. A weird little note. But if they have purple eyes and purple like googly eyes, they'll run after you. If they grab you, they'll teleport you to a little like 1x1 square location that you can't like run away from and get out of. You have to pinch yourself awake and then go back to being awake and then go right back to sleep again. Basically, they inconvenience you. They never really harm you though.
Is there anything in the game that can actually? Is there? Because I've seen a little bit of this game. I won't keep up the lie. We recorded an episode, so I do know a bit more about this game than I'm letting on.
Oh, that's totally okay.
So I'm playing a role of someone who doesn't know anything about this game. So so this game's made an RPG Maker, probably. I'm guessing as a person who doesn't know anything about the game. Is there any form of combat? Is there anything like that? Or is it just walking and menu stuff?
It's just walking menu stuff. You can stab NPCs, but for the most part, they'll back up and be scared of you. You know, they're not going to fight you back. You can stab the birds, but that only pisses them off more, and they'll run faster. Yikes. So you can't really defend. You can't defend yourself against them. You could just outrun them with the bike, or you can use the very famous speed glitch, where you basically quadruple your walking speed. Excuse me, and you just outrun everything in the game. It's the speedrun strat. So, throughout your adventures of collecting all the 24 effects, you will meet tons, and I mean tons, of various NPCs and characters. Yume Nikki is kind of one of those things where, like, you know, in one of those big fan base franchises out there, if you see a character on screen for at least 10 seconds, they'll immediately have, like, fan art on Tumblr or something.
Yeah, you know, like my favorite Dragon Ball Z character, Raspberry. Or those 3 Saiyans that don't have a name that are in a filler episode, one filler episode for 15 minutes in Dragon Ball Z.
But anyway, Yume Nikki was out for so long, people would just run around everywhere and explore everything. They would see these characters a lot for a long time. So even someone as, say, there's this, where you get the traffic light effect. You go down a highway, it's more like just a road, and there's a dead guy with a blood, like kind of like almost cut in half with blood coming out of, like, you know, the middle of his body. He's like all green and stuff, and he's just dead on the ground. You get the effect from him. They call him Shitai-san, aka Mr. Corpse. He's a very popular character and has tons of fan art and stuff.
He's just a corpse cut in half, you know. He's a pretty great guy.
He's just a dead body. But Yume Nikki's kind of one of those games where you'll just see some random guy off in like the corner of your screen. People love him. People fucking love it. Because they run around these worlds so much, they're so familiar with just seeing these guys in these locations, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Plus, what I said earlier, because it's a dream world and people try to theorize about this and that, maybe Mr. Corpse is incredibly important for all we know. So people kind of build up this dead guy. And he's just one example. There's tons of NPCs all over the goddamn place who have random art everywhere. But I want to focus on just a few. So, you have Madatsuki herself, who's the main character. We already mentioned her. The other big characters that I mentioned when I was mentioning the names, you have Monaco and Minoe. These 2 characters are found in a place called White Desert, a weird black and white monochrome world, I guess monochrome would just be the correct way to say it, that looks sort of like it's sketched out in weird, like, pencil. It looks kind of like Off, or like Suits or something. It's a very weird place.
What is Suits?
Suits is a weird little RPG I found when I was watching this one guy, Nitro Rad's videos, because I found him while looking up Yume Nikki stuff for research. He's a great guy, by the way. Check him out.
Yeah, I played Off a little bit, and that game is actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of similar to Yume Nikki, if you removed the combat aspect of Off, then it would be pretty close. Although there's more puzzles in Off.
Isn't there dialogue in Off though? Like, isn't there like a story to it?
Oh, so there's like there's no dialogue in Yume Nikki.
No,
not at all. No one speaks to you.
No one speaks. Most NPCs just try to ignore you. When you interact with them, they either make like a little musical chime, teleport you somewhere, or just give you an effect. Like, there's this guy called Strober. He's this weird skinny guy who like lights up and stuff like a strobe light in multiple different colors, and he's just like eating this orb on the docks. You talk to him, he just gives you the fan effect. That's it. That's it. You know, they most of the time you just are ignored. So anyway, there's a couple characters I want to talk about. So Monaco and Minoe, out in the White Desert. There are 2 different little tunnels. One tunnel, you have Minoe. It's a big black void of a room. You walk up to her, interact with her. Her face shows up. She has this big smug grin, teleports away and into some other place in this weird black void room, and you can just kind of chase her around endlessly. Then there's Monaco, a little twin-tailed girl who's in another tunnel in the White Desert. When you normally don't interact with her, nothing really happens. She just kind of sits there in the tunnel. But if you use the stoplight effect, her appearance will change. Instead, she'll have 2 extra arms going on top of her base arms, a fifth one on top of her head. She has 5 in total, a fifth one on top of her head. Her one eye will be looking in the other direction, and her left eye will have this weird, very thick stream of, like, it looks like tears, but it's like one solid stream, so it might be something else, like blood or something, because remember, she's monochrome, so it's just black and white. And you get up to her, she'll just, like, spin around in this weird image in front of you, all around everywhere until you get out of the animation. What does it mean? Then, you've got Pinocchio. Monaco is one of the more important characters because she's linked directly with Uboa, the big face of Yume Nikki.
And everyone, if you may not know his name, you've probably seen him. It's black and white face. It's kind of droopy on one side, like he's got some kind of palsy, right?
Yes. Yeah, see, he looks like a really shitty-looking sprite of like a guy's face being kind of like stretched almost. So, well, you've probably mostly seen, for an Undertale fan out there, the character W.D. Gaster is based off Uboa.
Mm-hmm.
He even has the same right eye and everything. Like, he's just a direct, like, ripoff, pretty much. So, Pinocchio is a character linked out in located out in the Pink Sea. You get there from Snow World. There's an igloo with a weird, like, puddle that's, like, glowing. Jump into it, you're in the Pink Sea. It's this weird pink area that's a sea with balloons, and her house looks like upside down, like party poppers. They're basically just big multicolored cones. You walk in there, she's just kind of chilling in her room. She doesn't really talk to you or anything. But if you turn the lights off, there's a 1 in 64 chance that when you do this, she will transform into a boa. Now, the room is now locked, and it's kind of like shaking a little bit, and the music's changed. It's droning. If you interact with a boa, his face warps. And this weird looking distorted thing. It looks kind of like almost like Voldemort ate a bunch of sour candy. It does. And when you're warped into this new location where it's this weird, like 5-armed monster in the background just grabbing like this big liquidy mountain. You cannot get out of this area normally. You can just kind of walk through it and it loops forever. Oboa's face will constantly be in the lower like right-hand corner of the screen. The only way to get out of there is to pinch yourself awake, or use the hand-eye effect to teleport back to the Nexus, much like how a bird person will trap you.
Okay.
And again, with this weird thing, there's no dialogue, people just gotta think, well, what does it mean? Then the very last character I want to talk about, a very, very popular character, and honestly one of my favorites, is Masada Sensei. No, Sekam Masada Sensei is his full name, but I'm just gonna call him Masada for short. He's a character located past that fiery area I mentioned earlier to use the rain effect to get past. Going through this place, you go through a door, you're in this weird white room now. If you try to go back outside, if you go to the right to explore more further and then back out, the door will be gone. So now you're kind of stuck up here. Going to the right, will reveal that there's just this big, huge piano. And this very weird-looking skinny guy with like a black suit on, just like playing the piano. There's a table with 2 chairs. Going to the right, there's a bed. Now, what makes Masada really important to a lot of people is he actually interacts with you, but he's not a weird effect NPC. When you go up and talk to him, he makes a little like doo-doo-doo, like a little like 3 like chiptune beeps at you. This is incredibly huge because remember, there's no dialogue and everyone ignores you unless they're directly useful for an effect or trying to harm you. But he speaks to you. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you can also play the piano there too.
Okay. And I think I've seen this room. It's like a really, really, really long piano, right?
Yeah, it's huge. There's like 10 different because remember like they're RPG like tiles. So there's like 10 different tiles and 10 different like notes you can play on it. So like if you hang out, you can hang out with him. He talks, but you're still kind of stuck up here, right? So what you can do is if you sleep on the bed on the right, there's a 1 in like I think it's 6 chance that you will actually fall asleep within your dream. Then you'll wake up and the lights will be flashing red. The UFO is crashing. Everything's like the alarms are going off. If you talk to Masada, his little like 3 beeps will be sped up because he's scared. Then a little cutscene will actually play, and you'll see the little ship fly and crash into Mars. Then when that cutscene's over, the door will be open. You can go explore Mars. And if you talk to Masato Sensei after it's crashed, his little beeps will be slowed down and he'll be sad. But
Yeah, you probably
explore
should have
Mars,
mentioned that you meet him on a spaceship.
a big
forgot
white
that
room.
part.
Oh yeah, probably, but whatever. Fuck you. You're on a spaceship. He's like a weird alien on the piano. As I was saying, you crash land on Mars, so you explore Mars.
And Mars itself. So Mars is just...
It's a 2D section. You can only move left and right. You go up this big mountain, and there's a little tiny hole. You can only get through there if you have that previously mentioned midget effect. You shrink down, jump in there, and you walk down this staircase into this weird, you're like this underground like fortress. And there's this creature. It's like a weird blue like tumor with a foot, one big eye, and it's crying. If you interact with it, it makes like 3 like musical notes, and the lights dim a little bit, and then that's just it. So what does that mean? Again, because no dialogue, people are confused. So, but also, you're stuck on Mars. You have to wake up to get out of there. But it's interesting, isn't it? So, once you do all of this stuff, once you explore and meet all these NPCs, see all these weird events, get all the effects, you get all the 24, go back to the Nexus. You can put them down on the ground. They show up as a little egg. Putting down all 24 effects on the ground will activate... a ledge, a little staircase on your balcony in the real world. So you put them all down, wake up, walk outside, walk up to the staircase, and you jump off the ledge, and you're dead.
You just fucking kill yourself.
And then the credits play. And 2 jellyfish people that are from like the forest world will walk up and look at the dead body, which makes you think, so was it in a dream? Or is that just what she thinks of people? Was she awake the whole time? I don't know. There's no dialogue. So then, people theorize like crazy, what did it all mean? And that's what made Yume Nikki so big and so popular for what its time was, because this mysterious game just comes out, this developer who barely even talks to anybody, there's no dialogue, no nothing. What does all of this mean? What is the purpose? What is it all for?
Because this seems like it's pretty much the first indie game. Binding of Isaac did this as well. But it's more, obviously a more recent game where it has this whole hidden thing going on. Except,
it has deepest lore.
Yeah, and Yume Nikki, the entire game is just deepest lore. It's the Dark Souls of RPG Maker games.
Because when you go into a dream, you have to immediately think, what is a dream just because of a dream? Like when I dream of Bindaman doesn't mean anything. He's just a weird sand guy in my dreams, right? When you go on an adventure. But sometimes I might dream that like a stressful day happened at work. Well, obviously I'm stressed out at work. So when you go into this weird things, what do all these images mean? What do all these events mean? Are they just events that happen because she's dreaming? Do they mean something that happened into her past? Does it mean something for her personality? So they all theorize. There are 2 big, super-duper mega theories that I want to tell you right here, Tad.
Mm-hmm.
So there are tons. There are absolutely tons, and I can go on for like an hour, but I'm just going to sum it up to the 2 really, really popular ones. So the very first one is actually a little dark. They actually think that Madatsuki is a victim of sexual abuse or sexual assault. This theory is actually supported by many little things like weird phallic imagery, tons of imagery of hands like grabbing at her and stuff throughout her dreams. She clearly doesn't like that. But the biggest one is in Number World. In Number World, when you first enter the world, there are all these like weird zipper guys around the wall. They all have these big smiles on their faces, but there's one in the corner. There's a chance to, when you spawn in, that'll have a frown. If you walk up to that with the knife effect, you can stab it open. It'll like do the scream effect when you stab an NPC, and the zipper will open with like this blood effect. Walk on through, you'll go to the staircase. Going through the staircase, up the stairs, you'll see this very huge, like very long and tall red creature with one little hand rubbing the handrail, all weird and creepy like. So, walking past him, you'll find a door that looks like your door. Opening that out will have the face show up. It's this very weird staticky image that flashes these different colors, has this weird, like, droning sound effect, like this, I don't even want to call it music, that just gets progressively louder and louder and louder until you wake up.
Yeah,
You're
and I've
forced
actually
to wake
seen
up.
this. I've seen this scene, and it is like actually pretty creepy. That face is very jarring and sticks with you. Like if you look at a white wall, you're going to see the reflection of it burned into your retinas.
Exactly. So people put two and two together and think with how she's ignored everywhere, how she's afraid and refuses to go, leave her room, and then stuff like this event. They think that she might be suffering from depression from being a victim of this kind of assault or abuse, and that's why she kills herself at the end after collecting all the effects in her dreams. But there's actually another theory, parentheses, game theory, that is almost as big as this one. And I thought when I was younger, when I first played this game, I played it in high school, right? Mm-hmm. I played the, finished, the 1.0 finished version that was, made in 2007. When I played this, I believed the rape theory. I believed that one. It seemed like to make the most sense, right? It's all right here. All the evidence makes sense.
A lot of stuff backing it.
But while doing research for this, I actually started to realize that the secondary theory might not be so crazy. It's actually that Marutsuki is a transsexual.
Now, childhood is thinking the rape theory makes more sense. Adulthood is realizing transsexuality. Fuck, hold on. I gotta remember that Facebook quote. I keep doing this joke, but I never remember the quote exactly.
It's childhood is idolizing Batman. Adulthood is realizing the Joker makes more sense.
Yeah, but with something completely inappropriate.
Yes.
Now, so where's the evidence on this trite?
Okay. So hear me out on this. So, all of the previous symptoms of her, like depression and fear and anxieties, actually all still apply to the mentality of someone who is suffering, or should I say suffering, but someone who is in a transitioning phase, or is afraid to fully transition and come out about it, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess.
I did research, just roll with me. Believe me. So, you might think, what does the sexual imagery mean? What about QQ-kun? But that's the name of the big red guy who rubs the handlebar. Doesn't he just represent like a dick or like an assaulter that she's afraid of? But what if QQ-kun represents her own penis and her own urge to use it and her own hatred for having one? Because remember, you stab open the wall with like blood everywhere. What if she wants to stab and cut off her own? What if she doesn't want it anymore? What if the face, which people think represents like the face of a penis when you look right at it, what if it's her own that she's afraid of?
When you say the face, are you talking about the thing at the end? The jarring?
Yes, the jarring image. It's called the face. In all capital letters. That's what it's called. That's what it means. There are actually some more things that represent this theory as well. One in particular, I should say two. In Graffiti World, there's a girl's bathroom all the way tucked in like the lower left corner. You can go into it. Block World, there's a men's bathroom. You can go into it. And I did some more research about this stuff, right? So, this game originally came out in 2004, right? In 2002, 2 years prior, the Japanese actually passed a law that allowed someone who is transgendered to get full documentation and classification to be like whatever gender they wanted to be and fully transition. But they had to be sterilized.
And that's good job, Japan. You really
That's pretty fucked up.
You did it. Good work. You guys are a first world country, all right? Good work. Jesus.
They undergo a legal gender post-sex reassignment surgery, but they are surgery. That basically means they're sterilized. So that's still in effect to this day, by the way. So I started thinking,
how? Okay, like Japan has like a bunch of weird cultural things, but like that's pretty fucked. Why are people complaining about them putting like sexy anime girls in video games when you are literally sterilized if you transition in this fucking crazy country? Nuke 'em again, I say, Alex.
Which is why I was trying to play into that fear thing, that if you're trying to transition in this country, because Matsutsuki's Japanese, she has Japanese stuff in her dreams, her name is Japanese, so there'd be a different mental way of thinking out in that country as opposed to transitioning somewhere over here, right? But one last thing I want to add to this trans theory, because again, the more I kept digging, the more sense it made to me. Now, there's a little snippet I want to read from an article written on tgmentalhealth.com. So, in all stages of transitioning, no matter what age you start at, there can be themes of isolation, hiding, and secrets, which can lead to depression and anxiety. Transgender adults are much more likely to have suicidal thoughts, with 50% of adults reporting suicidal ideation. There seem to be two paths that people take early on. Either one tries to hide their inner feelings of being the wrong sex and passes, in finger quotes, for what looks like a boy or girl, or one is incapable of hiding and presents as either a tomboyish girl or a feminine boy. Either path is fraught with problems of one emotional development. The second scenario of presenting as a gender non-conforming is known as elect harsh responses, and is known to elect harsh responses from one's own society. This is true for non-transgendered people as well as many gay men and women who experience this early on. So, as I was saying, all of the themes in her dreams are clearly just in that article right there. So it makes me think maybe they're onto something.
Like that's pretty solid evidence. But I mean, and this is something that I thought of actually between the previous recording getting completely fucked up, and at least I think I did. So there's a lot of what is the average completion time of Yume Nikki? About how long does it take?
If you know what to do, like if you know that it's about collecting the 24 facts, which pretty much everyone does at this point because it's been out for so long, probably a few hours. Let's say 3, maybe even like 4, if you're not using the speed glitch, if you're just running around with the bike.
So 3 hours. There's a lot of stuff in this game that you look at if there's 3 hours worth of content. And there's a lot of it. There's things you could argue for either one of these theories, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that are in there that aren't. Not everything in this game is directly pointing to one of these two theories, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
what you're saying is that some things might just be dreams.
Yeah, some things might just be because I'm looking at this game, I'm like, I don't even know if any of this is related to anything related to the author. Although honestly, the trans one actually seems pretty strong of a theory.
The more you look into it, it becomes more and more believable, because I actually read this post on a place called Boa-chan, a big fan site for just all things Yume Nikki. And on here, someone made this whole post where he's like, if you believe in the sexual abuse theory, you're taking all the imagery and all the things at face value. You just see, oh, that looks like a dick? Well, then she's afraid of dicks because she got molested or raped. You just take it like that, and you just take that as the answer. But what if there's just way more to it than that? And that's what actually made me start researching and believing in this second theory.
So I'm wondering how this guy's I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Kikiyama has not done an interview about his process for making this game.
No, he hasn't really talked to just about anybody, really, about anything. People have asked, though, and he has said something, though. I should mention this. People have asked, what does it mean? He said nothing. And I mean, that was his answer. I mean, he said it means nothing, which makes people only think more, by the way.
Because I mean, what I'm wondering is, what I'm thinking here is that this game is. And I'm basing this off of pretty much nothing other than what little scraps I know about this dude. And I probably know as much as every hardcore Yume Nikki fan right now about this guy. I'm going to go out and say, I'm going to assume that he is a hikikomori dude or girl.
They
whoever they
use
are.
They. When companies interact with him, and they have, I'll get to them in a second, they use they. Another thing that's just making me think, maybe this second theory's onto something.
But it's possible this is just, man, I got some real weird dreams. Let's just kind of slap all this stuff together, because he didn't do like a marketing campaign for the game. I'm sure he just put it up on RPGmaker.com forums or something. Just like, there we go. Didn't even have like an account. Just made one, put it up there, and it could just be a collection of his weird dreams and just stuff that he's thinking of and just putting it in there to fill his time. Because
funny enough, actually,
he's just, I mean, if you're a complete shut-in, I mean, you have 24 hours in a day. You can only sleep so much.
So, well, if you're Matsuki, you sleep all day, all the time. But funny enough, actually, like I said, there's many, many theories. One of the theories I should mention, because you're just pretty much bringing it up, is people thought for the longest time, because Kikiyama doesn't talk to anybody and just kind of disappeared for years, people thought that this game was sort of a suicide note.
Oh fuck! I didn't even think about that. Yeah, if
People
he just
thought
completely
that
disappeared,
Matsuki was representing him, and then doing everything was basically he was finished with life, and then killed himself because it was just gone. After the final update.
I mean, shit, that may have been what it was about, and then maybe he checked and saw that people really liked his game, and then was like, maybe I'll put it off a little bit longer.
Well, that theory is actually disproven because very recently a new Yume Nikki game came out, published by the AGM Playism, known for acquiring the rights and publishing many RPG Maker horror games on Steam. They actually got Yume Nikki and put it on Steam, still for free. Highly recommend checking it out. But they actually made a new game called Yume Nikki Dream Diary. For reference, Ted, Yume Nikki means Dream Diary, so the title is Dream Diary, Dream Diary.
It's like the Los Angeles Angels.
So, this game was developed by the Kadokawa Corporation.
The what corporation?
The Kadokawa Corporation. So, they are known for making a bunch of mediocre titles and anime tie-ins.
Wow, what a great studio to make this game.
So people were immediately skeptical that Playism would acquire the rights to this beloved thing. Because remember, 2007 to 2000 and now was a long, long time. Yume Nikki fans were everywhere. This game was big enough to have its own big fan site forever. And Nubo was a giant meme for years of early 2010s. Yume Nikki was huge. It was massive. So when they're like, hey guys, we acquired the rights to your favorite game, and people are like, yeah, this is awesome, and we're giving it to some low-budget guys to make a new game. And everyone's like, oh, this isn't as awesome. But here's where that theory gets disproven that I was just mentioning earlier. They said this game was made with full cooperation with Kikiyama themselves. Again, using that themself thing.
So but
basically, he's alive, is what you need to know. So that theory of him, that being a suicide note, was disproven earlier this year.
Well, I mean, consider this. How did he prove that he was Kikiyama?
That's a good one. See,
that's actually a good one, Squidward.
No, that's actually a very good point, because
Squidward.
How are we supposed to know it's the real Kikiyama? They could just lie and say they talked to Kikiyama and made all this shit. I mean, what do we know?
What is Kikiyama gonna do? Post on Twitter like, hey yo, that's horse shit.
Hey yo, that's me. We don't know. This has actually caused a lot of debate with fans on Uboa-chan of, is Kadokawa Corporation and Playism just lying to us?
Now, Playism, I want to believe that Playism actually aren't that bad of dudes, because they helped publish La Mulana and La Mulana 2 coming soon. So I want to say that they're cool, but
Well, what I've learned from Playism, people don't hate Playism for anything. People don't like the Kadokawa Corporation. Corporation.
If you call yourself a corporation, you are immediately branding yourself like the Kadokawa evil business.
Yeah, pretty much. So, anyway. Earlier in January, they released, Yume Nikki Dream Diary. It had, a 14 hour or day countdown timer. Team Fortress 2 style to build hype. And the clock was slowly ticking down. People were like, what is it going to be? Is it going to be a manga? Because there was an officially made manga that came out for Yume Nikki, because remember, that's how big it was.
But there's no plot. How does a manga even follow it?
It starts off originally as her walking around exploring the dream world, but they realize that if you're just drawing art, you're basically just doing a little art play-by-play of the manga, so they started adding dialogue and a story, and it started spiraling out of control fast. The dream world was collapsing. Uboa takes Madatsuki's umbrella and starts beating her with it. Fucking
what the
Masada Sensei leaves the dream world and takes the dream journal and is trying to save Madatsuki within her own dream. It gets out of hand. It ends on a cliffhanger. It did really poorly. No one really likes it. But anyway, I digress. The timer clicked down, and we found out what it was. It was a brand new game, Yume Nikki Dream Diary, that I've said 3 times now. And all the art they showed for it looked pretty cool. It was all the old familiar faces. You had Madasuki, you had Kyukyu-kun, actually. You had the birds who looked way crazy. You had Minoe, Monaco, you had Ponoko. They had Art of Uboa early on and stuff because they had to put Uboa in there. So we're like, this looks cool. So then a little while later, they released screenshots of the game. Oh boy. These didn't look as cool. So, you know what Unity looks like, Tad?
You're talking about that stock standard Unity shadow where there's this really cheesy looking N64 light, and then after about 6 inches it turns immediately to complete pitch blackness. Talk about that motherfucking Slender the Arrival. Talk about that motherfucking SCP Foundation game.
Yes, I'm talking some low budget Unity shit. And everyone was upset. Everyone's hopes were just immediately crushed in the palms of the Kadokawa Corporation. Kadokawa. Again, it's hard to say. So, they showed a bunch of things, and there was one screenshot in particular that really pissed me off. So, there's this area in the mall, in the original game. It's called the Flute Room. Because there's a room where you pick up the flute. In here, it's a 2-section room. The first room has this guy called E-Man, because his face looks like the letter E, chilling on a little couch. And a friendly Turingen sitting on the other side on a little counter. Talking to her will allow you to change your menu color. Going into the Lefse Room is where you find the flute effect. And there's nice little like music playing in here that's just for this room. And there's a guy called O-Man who's has like a letter O for a face, who's just like has little musical notes coming out of his head. And people see this area as this really nice and comforting area in this very weird and creepy place. It's kind of like why people like Musada-sensei so much, because he's this friendly NPC who you meet on a spaceship in this creepy-looking world full of hands and eyeballs and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people have always thought that, like, maybe the flute guy, oh man, gives you the flute and he's like your buddy or something. So they show off this room, and it has this shitty-looking Unity light that makes it look really creepy. And I'm like, that's wrong. That's the complete opposite of what Flute Room should be. I'm mad.
Well,
I'm
Alex,
angry.
Now, you say that what it should be. Now, when you say it's the opposite of what it should be, how can you say that definitively?
Have you ever been in a movie? Like, did you use horror movie lighting in a comedy movie? Did you put that Marvel gray filter over an Adam Sandler movie? Lighting and presentation helps with the theme and the message you're trying to send. In a brightly almost pink-colored room with nice music playing of a guy who gives you a flute and is clearly being friendly by his little musical notes. Because remember, in Japan, musical notes from like little dialogue boxes don't necessarily mean they're like whistling or singing. That's just kind of like a little note to show like happiness. So in a nice little peaceful area, giving it this creepy horror movie lighting, that's wrong. So yes, I know what it should be. Kiss my butt.
I don't know. Made in full cooperation with allegedly the creator.
No, allegedly made with the full cooperation and communication of Kadokawa. And out of the utmost respect... Sorry, Kadokawa. Of Kikiyama. God damn it. They all sound the same. Okay. Just work with me here. So, no one's happy. They release a trailer. It's a 1 minute long trailer, 30 seconds. So one half of this trailer is a very, very slow text crawl with a shitty sound effect of Kyukyu-kun rubbing. The pole like usual, the little squeaks that he's doing. It's saying like, this game was made out of the utmost respect for Kikiyama. We loved his original project and kind of want to do this crazy reimagining and blah, 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 blah. So, enjoy. So half the video's already over. So... you get 30 seconds to look at clips fly by really quick. You have this creepy big shadow guy walk down a hallway. You have a big red orb, a big red slime guy with a face roll down a hill. He's from the original game, but I'll get to that in a bit. You've got one other screenshot that I don't even remember, it just flies on by. Then you have the finale of the trailer, which is Kyukyu-kun rubbing the stairway all creepy-like, with Minoe, that smug girl I mentioned earlier, crying below him, and then the trailer ends. And everyone's like, he looks like shit!
Now, I think I've seen this. He looks like a Canadian children's cartoon character. One of those
He looks like a wacky waving... He looks like a wacky waving inflatable arm flame to a man.
From like...
because he's a solid red color.
He looks like one of those wacky tube men from a first pass of Jimmy Neutron before they put all the actual effects on it. Because I don't know if you noticed, the character models of Jimmy Neutron are fucking trash, but they have like pretty good textures and stuff, so they don't look as terrible.
I mean, I think Jimmy Neutron looks like shit either way, so I'm impressed if they can manage to look worse.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about, and it looks just as... So, if you're listening at home, and you're trying to imagine what, like... Because I'm seeing it as, like, this, like, slow zoom-in of, like, stuff coming into you from the shadows, and you just see, like, a fucking Duplo Lego block with a face on it, just kind of there in a solid red color. Am I pretty close to what the trailer was like, Alex?
More or less.
Anyway, yeah, it looks like shit. Complete and total shit.
So, everyone's unhappy again. Then they release some more screenshots. Everyone's still kind of unhappy. But then, for reals this time, they make an actually pretty good trailer. They show all of those shitty screenshots, like, say, the one in the Flute Room I mentioned. They show them all in motion. Now, suddenly, this game doesn't look half bad. When I saw that Flute Room, when I saw the characters kind of move and interact and not just be still, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of feeling this now. Then, when I saw, like, the docks has been turned into this weird 2D, like, puzzle platformer where you avoid enemies, like an Oddworld or something, when I see them in motion, I'm like, this looks pretty okay, I guess. You know, it still looks pretty low budget, but, like, passable low budget. You know, like an indie game I would play as opposed to an indie game I would, you know, throw away. You know what I'm saying?
An indie game I would just make fun of on a podcast.
Exactly. So, I'm feeling it a little bit. I'm getting a little excited. And a lot of people are sharing my opinion. So the game finally comes out. And I play it. It took me 6.2 hours to beat the game and 100% it. And I'm talking 100% collectibles, 100% concept art, 100% achievements. All done. 120 billion% completed. I got this stuff. So, let me explain very quickly how this game is. So, it's okay. There's my little review. Now let me get more in depth with it.
You fucking asshole. I knew you were going to do it.
So,
I knew that you had to do it to him.
I had to do it to him. So the game is vastly different from the original game. It's no longer a weird explorative game that's all surreal, and you just run around and meet all these weird things and collect effects. Now, it's much more short, concise, I think that's the word I'm looking for, compact, deliberate, direct, focused.
It's more like a game first and foremost, right?
It's not a walking simulator, it's a video game, is a better way to describe it. So, instead of having 12 doors to explore, you have only 5, with a 6th one locked. So, you've got the wilderness from the original game, you've got the docks from the original game, you have the mall from the original game, you've got the school, which is a new area, and then you've got, the streets, which is like, I want to call it a new area. It's got a bunch of things from other areas kind of meshed into it. It's kind of like the sewers and the underground world and part of the mall in this weird thing. I'll get to it. So, every area kind of controls a little differently. You've got the docks, which is like a strictly 2D only section with a weird puzzle platformer. You've got the mall, which is kind of like starts off as a 3D explorative. You can meet the Flute Room, which I actually, upon playing it, like how they handled the Flute Room. Remember how I mentioned originally it was this peaceful little area? When you go in there, the bird doesn't do anything. She's just kind of there. Mm-hmm. But E-Man now does something. And then O-Man, he gives you the flute. Before you get the flute, it was right next to him. Now when you talk to O-Man, he like holds his hands up, holds them front to back, puts his hand into his sleeve, pulls out the flute, and hands it to you. He does like a little magic trick. So that just confirms that he's a friendly guy who gave you the flute. Then if you go to E-Man, E-Man will whistle like 3 little notes. If you play those notes back to him on the flute, he'll clap and give you some concept art, which is like that game's collectible. So, I liked that. I like that they directly interact with you and pretty much prove the theory that they are just friendly little guys who are just kind of helping you out. But anyway, after you do the first small segment, which is this really, really janky puzzle, where you have to, Tokuto-san's little bucket guy full of blood, you have to trap him and make him fall over and spell out this key that he has in him, right? you have to stop him from going up elevators. So every time you use, like, whenever you get up to, like, a new event that would play, like a new, like, scripted event, like something falling over that you, like, when you push a button, the game would kind of lag a second. So whenever you would walk up to him for him to load his next action, whichever direction he was going to run, it would just do, like, a quick little lag, and then he would do it. So running through the mall felt as fun as you think it did on release.
Was it just, like, stopping you every time these things loaded?
Whenever he would, like, move, yes.
Disgusting.
It was painful. They patched it, but that was bad when I first got it. So when you get through this level, you get to this really cool section to play, but shitty idea. So almost all of what you see in Dream Diary is from the original game, but they have a couple new things. One of which are the mannequins. So I hate them because Yume Nikki had all this weird surreal stuff that felt really unique at the time because it was 2004. It was forever ago. And people love these things. So you're making a now more horror-focused, concise game based on the Yume Nikki property, and you have a bunch of things you can make as enemies and things you can just transform. So what do? You just make mannequins, because mannequins are creepy, and in every Japanese horror game, they feel so forced.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it feels like they did that in Thief, in the new Thief, which, controversial opinion, New Thief honestly wasn't that bad of a game. Where there was this area where you would just kind of turn around and then a mannequin would be there. It's like, whoa, that was a spooky dude. But they had the gimmick there that was actually. Hold on, I want to stop. I want to completely stop the episode in its tracks and talk about this fun thing they did in a video game that everyone fucking hates. As soon as your camera moved away and it removed the mannequin from its sight, it would teleport to the next location. And they would just kind of do that all throughout this section of level. It was pretty cool.
See, they actually have a thing with the mannequins in this game is, so when you get into this room, it's locked to 2D again. Whenever the lights are out, the mannequins move, and you can kind of hear the like wooden like joints moving. But when the lights are on, they stop moving. So the lights are flickering on and off and shit, and you have to platform over them and get past this area. If you get nabbed, you have to start over. Luckily, you don't get trapped and you have to wake up anymore. Now, when you die, in finger quotes, and you get caught, you kind of just warp back to a little checkpoint. So you can kind of just throw your face at obstacles until you learn it, which is I actually kind of like. You know,
is there
I would really not like having to wake up.
Is there like a thing? Is there like, does the character yell or something if you get caught? Or does it just go? Pew?
They grab you by the shoulders and it goes like, and the screen darkens and you just kind of warp back to the door you entered.
Okay,
it's very quick and I like that. I appreciate that a lot. I prefer that if I get caught by these things, it's not like a long animation of me getting like strangled or something. Then I have to go like, oh okay.
It's not like fucking. When you save and quit in Banjo-Kazooie and it plays that cutscene, you know?
Yeah. So, didn't like that section. After you get through that, you do a little shitty little puzzle, you go down the highway I mentioned earlier, stab another character named Anson-san, kill him, and then he becomes Mr. Corpse that I mentioned earlier, and then you wake up. And like she walks out of bed, looks around, looks right at the camera, and the achievement is called Remorse. Why did you do it? And now you completed the level. When you go back to the world, there'll now be a little egg there representing you completed it. And that's when this game was really different. That was the first level I actually beat. I was like, oh, there are levels in this now. Before you would just explore. Now you have to get through each area and have an end game goal. You're right?
Mm-hmm.
So, throughout all the worlds, I'm going to kind of sum this up really fast so I don't spoil the entire game for you. So throughout all of these worlds, you find a lot of familiar locations and a lot of familiar characters, along with some new obstacles and puzzles to get through. The only new characters that are in there are a creature actually from the original drawing of Kikiyama himself, from his little like concept art book. This weird blue creature with 2 legs, like a weird torso, and a huge long nose with 1 eye, and kind of like a weird little like open mouth. It's a very creepy looking creature, and it looks. I could imagine what its sprite would have looked like. You've got him, he's new, but created by Kikiyama. You have the mannequins, which are just forced and stupid. And you have what I call him as the Shadow Man, because I got nothing else to call him. It's that big shadowy dude from the trailer who has 2 white eyes that follows you through like the streets. When he gets near, the lights start like shatter and explode. The little eyeball dudes are scared of him. All this crazy shit. you have to run from him. You can't fight him or anything. He just kind of like picks you up, and then like the screen darkens. So you do all these puzzles, you see all these familiar characters, you do all this shit, and you collect 5 effects, and you beat the level. Every level has one goal to get to the end of it, and they also have a hidden thing, which is a little jellyfish guy that can be outside there. So you have the concept art, jellyfish, and the main goal. Those are your 3 things you're going to do. And what I kind of like that they do is like, the game autosaves, but you can still go to your dream journal. As you go through your dreams, she adds more like little like sketches to her dream journal. So say like you go to the barracks, from the original game, which is full of the Priori people, little like weird gray people with holes in their faces. When you meet them, then you check your dream diary after that. She'll have a little drawing that she drew of like the village and the little people walking around in it.
That's
you find
pretty cool.
Monaco. You'll find like say like you'll have the docks. You went through the docks. She'll draw the docks. You met the Turnigan. She'll draw the Turnigan. You see the fisherman. She'll draw the fisherman. And like as you progressively go through the level, she'll progressively add more drawings. And it's actually really really cool. So you kind of see like, based on how much space is left in your dream journal, how much like more events and stuff is left to do and discover in each of these dreams, because there is some hidden stuff. So I actually really want to get... I know I said I wouldn't spoil too much. I won't spoil every level, but I will talk about the ending, because it's very different from the original. So, after you beat all the main goals in each level, the final door that was all locked up with chains and keys will open. Going through that door, you'll go back to your room, still in the dream world. Leaving the door again will actually take you to this creepy concrete, like, area, this dimly lit concrete area, like a parking lot or something. It's more like an apartment complex. You know, the creepy concrete world and everything.
Yeah,
everyone's afraid of concrete.
Parking garage.
Everyone's just scared of concrete.
Well, I don't know about scared about concrete in general.
Nah, dude, concrete's fucking spooky. So
how do they make it?
Oh, jeez. When I see a concrete mixer on the road, I start sweating.
I moved to the other side of the street.
So anyway, you're walking down this place. There are a couple doors locked. You can go into like a couple doors and find like more concept art. But as you walk down, you go down an elevator, and the lights will start just like breaking and turning off. And you're like, oh shit, everything will be dark. So you pull out the lamp that you found in another level, and you go through this creepy, like, dim lit thing. Now, when I was playing this level, I wasn't really scared about anything in this game. The mannequins were kind of vaguely creepy, but like, once they grabbed me, I was just kind of annoyed by them now. Because it's a video game, right? Like, once they actually inconvenience me, I'm like, oh, okay, fuck off. So, this area was actually kind of scary because there's no music. There's just, like, your footsteps when you're walking. So it's dark. You're amnesiaing the fuck out. You're in the dark with your little lamp. And, when you go down, it's fucking got me. And I'm so angry because of the cheapest fucking scare. Lightning strikes. So I'm just like, man, I'm playing with my friend, dude, like, Ryan, I'm fucking scared as shit right now. I'm getting fucking thunder. I'm like, oh, fuck you, that got me. Fuck you. You can suck my ass, you fucking low-budget ass Karakawa cucks. Eat my shit. So you walk down through here after getting that stupid jump scare, and the Shadow Man shows up again, and he's like big and spooky, and you're like, oh shit. So you run to the other end of the fucking hallway, go through an elevator, and he pops out of the roof, because now in the roof of the building. He's like even bigger now, and you're like, oh shit. So you have to make this jump off the roof that's really, really shitty. It's really bad, because it's a low budget game where you have a hover jump when you get the ability to. So landing on this little fucking floating rock is as fun and easy as you think it is. So after dying twice because I missed this rock because I couldn't really tell where I was landing, I land on it and progress through the rest of the chase sequence. You jump and you go to the Nexus, actually. You like, float to it, but as you're approaching all the doors, like the lights of them start shutting off. Till the only door left is your door. You go to your room, you're all scared. You fucking lock the door. You like cover your hand with your head with your eyes, and then with your hands. Then time passes and the day is here. I started that horribly, but you get what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. Then when you wake up, it's daytime. You like get up, you look back by your door, you open it. It's like a big white like light, and you walk out of it, and you fucking get an achievement. And that's the default ending. But there's a secret ending. So to get the secret ending, you instead of going down the elevator in the last area, go to the room right next to it. You really hid that one well. It's literally the one door next to it. You just keep walking right. You touch a little symbol on a wall, and now this will activate something. I don't think you can do this the first time you're through because the Shadow Man chase sequence happens, but the second time through, because he's not chasing you, you can do it. I don't know. I don't feel like starting a new game file to figure it out. But when you get up to the roof, instead of jumping off and doing the chase sequence, move just a little to the left. There'll be that symbol again on the ground. Interacting with it, a UFO light will come and teleport you up, and you'll be in that same white UFO from before. You go to the next room, and there's Masada Sensei, and he's actually playing the piano this time instead of just kind of looking at it, and he'll be playing this very, very nice rendition of this piano version of the ending theme to Yume Nikki. So, he has concept art on his table. Now, every concept art you find in the game actually shows up as just like the Dream Journal, right? That it's just like the little icon for it. Just like concept art unlocked. Check it out in the Dream Journal. But when you find his concept art, it specifically shows his picture and has little question marks underneath it. So his is special. And when you talk to him, he'll actually play notes on his piano and then look back to you. And there'll be like the little bits of the ending theme to the original game. Then he'll look back and he'll look to you. So it's another one of those music puzzles like before I mentioned with E-Man. But instead of copying his letters and his notes, you have to finish the song. And I really like this. So you do it twice, then he'll do his little beeps that he did when he interacted with you before. You can walk over to the right and sleep on the bed, and you get a new achievement called The Dream Goes On, with the text, "It's so cozy." And then the credits roll, and the music still plays, and it's super, super nice. So basically they took the thing that people thought that Masada Sensei was some kind of weird comforting presence and basically confirmed it, because the Shadow Man is called the achievement for running from him is called Face Your Fears, and you have successfully like run away from your inner fears. So rather than accept and get captured by your inner fears or run away from them and conquer them, she finds comfort in Masada Sensei instead.
Now,
that's the secret ending.
Now, is there anything else that this game adds to theories that you want to spoil in this video?
Yes,
or
I do.
Podcast, rather.
I do, kinda actually. So those two main theories are still very, very prevalent. Because you do, in the school area, you find Minoe, who is like a completely different character. She's like all crying and stuff. You chase her through the entire school, which I guess is kind of akin to chasing her around in the dark void, ? So now it's crying instead of being a smug little shit. And you chase her all the way down to this deep, dark, spooky, red Silent Hill version of the school. And you go past the zipper door that was from the original game that I mentioned earlier, and you find her crying at the feet of Q-Q-Kun. And Q-Q-Kun looks a lot better now. Like, they actually made him have, like, the weird spray painty kind of, like, effect over him. So now he just doesn't look like a dumb solid tube. He doesn't look like a dumb popsicle. And when you get up to him, he starts rubbing faster and stuff. And then, like, you like, grab your head and you go to your knees, and images of, like, what I think is, like, a real actor, who's, like, looks like Minoe, starts, like, flashing in front of your eyes with, like, static and colors. And then you wake up with, like, a nightmare. You, like, jump out of your bed. Then you can actually go back there, walk past Q-Q-Kun now, and go through a door and see the face event again. So he's still in.
Is it the same exact face?
Yes, but the effect of him is a little different. Like, he's still like staticky and the music is there, but it's like just different colors instead. It's like a pink and like a green and stuff. But the music, it lasts longer. You have to manually wake up this time, and it gets louder and louder. Like, it's really loud. Like, I was getting a little, like, I was actually, because I already knew what it was, I was starting to get a little unsettled because I thought something new was going to happen. Like, it was getting to me.
I mean, Alex, maybe if you just waited a little bit longer.
Dude, I was fucking freaked out.
Now,
so, anyway.
So you get, like, these photos of this real-life person dressed as, like, this dude, or this girl, right?
This girl, yes. So the goal of the school is to find these fragmented photos that are all like torn up of Minoe, form them together, which is like her with her back turned, and show it to her. Showing it to her makes her like disappear, and then you go to the second part of the school where she's crying again, then you chase her down like I just mentioned. So here's my game theory. Or here's why these two theories are still good. People still believe the sexual abuse theory and simply think that it happened to both of these characters. And Kikiyama still represents like the attacker, and it happened at school. And I have a little theory that where Number World, people thought it was like a hospital because of all the beds. I think it was meant to be a school because all of the events from Number World and all like the characters show up in the school area. So anyway, I still think the transsexual theory might be a little true. Let me explain. So, once again, what if the zipper and QQ-kun simply still represent your own dick? But rather than you wanting to use it, what if you specifically wanted to use it on Minoe? The reason you're chasing her around is because you're lusting after her. The photo you this only holds up, that photo you have of her that was with the description that's taken without her noticing. This theory only holds up if that photo belonged to you.
Yeah, I mean,
if that wasn't your photo, my theory fucking explodes in on itself.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be your photo, or it could be, if you subscribe to the first theory, much like you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, it could be, a photo taken by the assaulter dude.
Yeah, and you might have just happened to have seen it at some point or something.
Yeah, because I mean, because she is a character. I mean, she pretty much ignores you in the first game, right? She just pretty much ignores you, but Uboa's in there. Is Uboa in this one?
No, that's Monaco.
Oh.
Minoe is the one who's crying and stuff.
Is she the one with the pigtails, right?
No, that's Monaco. Minoe is the one who's smug, and you find her in the Black Void, and you find her and she teleports away.
Okay.
You just keep chasing after her, this weird little game of tag. Which is why I think this still kind of works, because you're still chasing after her in a way. But that only makes me think that the Chancellor is just getting more weight. But anyway, yeah. Monaco and Uboa are in the game, and they're handled pretty shittily. The build-up to them is great. Like, going through Pink Sea looks beautiful. It's a fucking slog, but it looks nice. You very slowly get up there, you see Monaco, she's in her room. Now instead of just walking around being, bored, now she's, on her desk doing, I assume homework or something. She's just writing stuff down. So, if you try to interact with her, she just, covers up her, paper that she doesn't want you to look at it. Again, which makes you think it's, homework. You turn the light off. You don't have to leave the house this time to reactivate the chance. You can just flick it on and off really, really fast. And when you do it, this time, instead of just, flashing the light and she's a boa, now everything's dark except for the little light around you and the door. Everything's just dark, just pitch black. And you slowly, like, hear your heartbeat start getting louder and louder and louder. You walk into the shadows, and then, like, a next step, like, sound like crack, and Noboa's face flashes for, like, a millisecond, and then you wake up to a nightmare. So what I hate about this is that, like, it's so short. It has such great build-up, but you don't even get a chance to see Uboa's face. Because it looks like, it doesn't look like the concept art. They actually went and made a new piece of art, at least it fucking looks like it. It looks, because you can really only see the white for that split second you get. It looks like someone just kind of spray painted in your face with a next snap sound effect. It's really bad, and I'm sad. And honestly, if they're out there, those developers, and they know English, I want you guys to just add half a second longer on that image. Just a little bit longer so they can comprehend what you just saw,
Mm-hmm. So that I can actually be able to be scared?
Afraid of it. Yeah. Fuck, dude. It's such a damn shame. But, to sum it all up, the game is very janky to play. They've been patching it, so maybe it'll get even better by the time this video's up, because they've been patching it, pretty much every other day at this point. All in all, I think it was okay. It's not really worth $20. I think it's only worth $20 if you're a hardcore Yume Nikki fan like me. If you're just, a mild Yume Nikki fan, maybe get it when it's on sale for, 10 or something, try it out. Because it really is just, as that Nitro Red guy said, a poor man's Limbo. Because it's very short, too. The only other thing I could really say about the game that I really enjoyed was the mini-game. Remember how I mentioned Nasu, that little eggplant game you can play? Mm-hmm. They made a new one called Super Nasu with, updated graphics. You now, instead of just jumping up to eat eggplants, you run left and right and you, shoot them. And they shoot big balls of dough that blow up into more balls, and then oranges that split into, 3. It's actually a pretty fun little mini-game, and I like it a lot. And what I like is how they handle the music in both the mini-game and pretty much the whole game in general. Is when you first start up Super Nasu and get in there, it does the shitty little 2-second loop of the Nasu music, but then progressively adds more and more instruments to it until it gets this whole new theme. It's mixing the old with the new, and they use a lot of the old music all throughout the game. The Wilderness still has the weird ambience going through it. Panako's room is like a remix of her original theme. The Flute Room has this like really low, like groovy kind of remix of the Flute Room theme. Like they handled the music and all of the presentation of this game is actually pretty solid. As low budget as the game looks, they handle a lot of areas very well. And even as much as I don't like the mannequins, I liked their segment. It was kind of interesting. I just wish it was like either a Yume Nikki enemy or a more Yume Nikki looking enemy.
So presentation, they have good ideas. Some of it goes well. Others looks like Unity trash.
Pretty much. Again, all in all, it's okay. Get it if you're a hardcore fan.
Yeah, and I think that about does it. I wish we knew. I feel like you could do an entire podcast series just based off of Yume, God damn it, Yume Nikki, and all the different theories and
Dream
shit.
Dream Diary.
Yeah. Los Angeles ain't the fucking shit. Okay, I made the joke earlier. God damn it. All right, hold on.
Yeah, you can do it, Chab. I believe in you. Come on.
The Los Angeles Angels means the Angels. Anyway, so as I was saying, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this game. It's pretty interesting. Actually, it's probably a blessing in disguise that we had to redo this episode because I think this one turned out a lot more streamlined. There's a lot of fat trimmed off it. So I guess check it out. I'll probably watch some YouTube videos about it. Who knows? You can find the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, or on the website, www.lmtya.com. You can find us on Twitter at LMTYA PD. We also have a Discord where sometimes we hold contests. I had a contest that I held for the month of February related to frogs. Sometimes we do stuff on there. There's also a Patreon, and trying to think of anything else to shill. Bug Fables got funded, so that's pretty cool. Alex, here you do your Nitro Rad shilling.
Well, yeah, you guessed one. I had two things I wanted just to give a little shout out to. Both Nitro Rad, because while doing all my research for Yume Nikki, I found his videos in his channel, and he's actually pretty good. He does videos of just random video games in general, but he did like a whole-on series of both Yume Nikki and all the fan games that spun off from it. Because like I said, Yume Nikki was huge. And one more guy is a Japanese animator named Gobu. He creates a bunch of very cute little sprite animations of various Yume Nikki like characters doing things. You've probably seen the one with Masada Sensei and the girls singing and dancing the fucking secret song from Battle Theater. Like, he's very good. I highly recommend checking him out and all of his stuff.
All right, then. Well, is there any last thing that you want to say, Alex, before we end the episode?
QQ Kun did literally nothing wrong.